Welcome to the Destination Downriver podcast presented by the Trenton Trib and Island Beacon. My name is Ron Hendricks and I am your host today. And we're also very excited to announce that we have a wonderful sponsor of today's podcast, Bell Granite and Marble, and to today's podcast. And you can, as you can imagine, we have a couple of outstanding guests with us today, beginning with Mr. Dave Lorenz, who is the state travel director for Pure Michigan, who I'm with, or runs the Pure Michigan campaign, which I'm going to introduce here in a minute. But before we do that, I want to give you kind of a quick run through of our July episode, which was a fantastic episode. If you remember, we had the Detroit Metro Convention and Visitors Bureau with us, also a couple of phenomenal business owners in Flat Rock with Atwater Street Tacos, and also the kayak launch there. So you heard a lot about what's happening in the southern part of Destination Downriver along the Huron River. Today we're going to be joined by, again, Dave Lorenz. And we're going to talk about how Downriver fits into Michigan's robust visitor environment. So Dave, who again is in charge of travel and tourism for the state of Michigan, will give us a great idea on how Destination Downriver fits into Michigan's travel and tourism plan, and how we as a business community and we as residents and the workforce here in the Downriver region can be a part of that robust travel and tourism plan. So Dave Lorenz, thank you so much for joining us today on today's Destination Downriver podcast. How was your trip in?
It was great, Ron. Good to be here, and I just love this area. As you know, was recently in, let's see, where were we? We weren't in Trenton that day. Where were we that day? Wyandotte. Yeah, Wyandotte was great.
Yeah, Joe's Hamburgers with Jeremy.
Yeah, we went to Joe's Hamburgers, and then of course, well, it was just a few days later, I had a meeting at your really wonderful conference center there, right on the river.
Yeah.
What a great place. And this area is like so many areas of the state. It offers so much, but unfortunately, a lot of people have not heard about it yet. Mm-hmm. And we need to make sure that we spread the word that there's so much here to be proud of, and there's so much here to experience. A lot of times when you live somewhere, and I mean anywhere, you kind of lose track on the truth that there's a reason why you decided to live there, because it's pretty cool. I think you get used to seeing it every day, so you can't appreciate it as much as visitors might. I was just actually vacationing on the Sunrise side, which is the northeast part of the lower peninsula. Mm-hmm. And that's another area of the state that is lesser known, but still, just like this, offering great experiences to people. So we need to do our best to encourage people to get to places like this, and then for people who live here, to encourage them to say with pride that I'm in the Downriver area, and come on over, because it's pretty cool.
That's a great way to really kick off this discussion, Dave. But I'm going to ask you first. I could read through a bio. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and also more about Travel Michigan, which is the agency that you run in the state government, and then also tell us a little bit about the Pure Michigan campaign?
Yep, happy to do so. I have a kind of a weird background. I'm a former broadcaster, and then I was a retail marketer. Worked at the corporate offices for Meyer, which was great, and somehow ended up at Travel Michigan about 18 years ago, prior to Pure Michigan being around. And during that time of being at Travel Michigan early on, it was obvious that we needed to get serious about promoting what we love in the state, so that people will travel here, people will spend some of their leisure time, maybe some of their money too, because all that we do at Travel Michigan is about trying to encourage more jobs, to retain jobs, to grow jobs, to get people to come here to spend some money while they're having a good time, pay for some road taxes and school taxes and police and fire taxes and all that. So that's what travel and tourism does. It allows us to have a great time, to reconnect, to discover, but it also helps the economy in so many ways. So Pure Michigan was born 15 years ago this year, hard to believe, with this concept that, it was time to tell the people about this place with abundant natural beauty, really friendly people, unique experiences, and authentic destinations like you offer here in the Downriver area. Mm-hmm. That's what Pure Michigan is all about, and happy to say it's worked really well.
It's truly been a remarkable campaign. I can't believe it's been 15 years now. And you think of the economic impact, you just mentioned that a minute ago, that Pure Michigan has had on the entire state of Michigan, but it's also inspired other states to adopt similar campaigns. Can you talk a little bit about that, how you work with other states and if they've reached out to you asking you for advice?
Well, it's the greatest compliment when others want to kind of copy the style of what you do. Well, the truth is, every place has a story to tell. Every place should be discoverable and should provide an interesting experience. The thing about Michigan, and the reason we call it Pure Michigan, is that we really do offer a very unique experience. You can't just accidentally get to Michigan. We happen to be surrounded by the Great Lakes. Right. We touch on 4 of the 5 Great Lakes. We have 11,000 inland lakes. We have 4 very distinctly different seasons. We have people who are very diverse in places that are very diverse. And when you start to mix this all together, you have this really unique combination of experiences to offer. So, other states, they want to tell their story as well, and we want them to be successful as well. We just want to be a little more successful than them.
Right.
So that's always the idea is we want people to travel all around the world because travel is good for the mind, body, and soul. And if it does nothing else, it shows us that we're all the same in this world. We need to find a way to get along. Travel is the greatest spreader of that truth. Once we're there, we understand that hey, they're okay and we're okay. And we can live together and see each other's places and be part of each other's lives and do it in a peaceful way. So travel is the greatest exporter of peace the world has ever known. We need to encourage people to get out there, but to spend a little more than our fair share right here in Pure Michigan.
Right. I love how you put that, Dave. Travel is the greatest exporter of peace. That is just beautifully worded. Let's focus a little bit on Downriver because we could talk about the state of Michigan for hours and hours, and it truly is a remarkable place. And here in our own little corner of this beautiful state is Destination Downriver. And over the past several years, we've been transforming what was at one time considered the state's industrial hub, and perhaps still is, but transforming that into a region defined by accessible shorelines along 3 major rivers, nearly 1,000 acres of parklands and charming communities knitted together by a robust system of over 200 miles of greenways, waterways, and shorelines. What I just said, I bet you a lot of people, even here in Downriver, probably don't even realize that that's right here in our backyard. How can we work with Pure Michigan, and we're going to talk with the Under the Radar Michigan guys here in a minute, but how can Destination Downriver work with Pure Michigan to really showcase the beautiful destinations that we have right here in Southeast Michigan?
Yeah, we are always happy to help spread the word about various destinations around the state, including this one. And so we have developed some tools to kind of spread the word. The biggest, most obvious marketing tool we have out there is Michigan.org. We always say your trip begins at Michigan.org. And what we mean by that is, as long as that information is on that website, people can explore, they can do a little surfing, they can get some ideas on places to go, things to do. And I really always recommend people do start out at Michigan.org. Learn a little bit about that place you're going to, but not too much, because you want to then experience it. You want to have a little joy of discovery when you're out there as well. But it's important to have an idea of what you're going to do before you go. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting around saying, what are we going to do today? That's a waste of time.
Right.
And vacation time is precious. So
sure is.
Use that time well. So we're always asking what we call consumer-based businesses. In other words, restaurants and hotels and attractions and all those places that offer experiences for travelers, to make sure their information is on Michigan.org. That's where it all starts with us. Make sure to spread the word on what everybody's doing on social media. Make sure to hashtag Pure Michigan or whatever that little but I never can say that word.
That
Little
just say
thing,
the ad sign.
squirrely thing. That ad sign.
The ad sign.
That ad sign. I never can say it. Yeah. So, but make sure to link us in there. Like us, friend us, fan us, whatever it is, and help us help you spread the word.
Dave, that reminds me of actually how we originally developed our relationship with you, going back a couple of years. Actually, before that, I had invited you to come to speak to the Dearborn Area Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
And that was going back several years, so it's probably towards, not so much 15 years ago, but more towards the beginning of the Pure Michigan campaign. And now it's a lot more mature now. But going back a couple of years now, I invited you to come speak to the Downriver communities through the Southern Wayne County Regional Chamber, one of our business forums. And you came in and you just gave a phenomenal presentation, I think, that really inspired a lot of our business owners here to want to be involved in Pure Michigan because they saw the impact that can have on their business and their community and bring talent into their region and truly have that positive, lasting impact on a community that people desire. We talked about how the coalition can be involved, how people can submit things on Michigan.org, but how can your everyday person become an ambassador of their region and truly be somebody who can tell the story and inspire others to want to come visit the region that they live in, such as Downriver?
And positivity makes all the difference in life, not just for travel and tourism marketing, but for living in general. And too often I think people look at the not so perfect things in a community and complain.
Yes. Yep.
Instead of looking at that opportunity to make it better. And instead of saying, we're not perfect, but look at all these great things we have. And being proud of what the community is. Because there's a lot to be proud of here.
Yeah.
And people need to express that pride in an appropriate way. Because, pride is the greatest motivator the world has ever known.
Yeah.
If you're proud in your community, you will want to support it. And if you want to support it, you want to tell that story. And word of mouth, boy, there's nothing more valuable than that. I mean, advertising is great, of course, and marketing techniques that we use, for instance, to share the word. But when somebody gives that personal testimonial that I live here or I visited here and I had a great time, and you should come here as well. Or I live here and you should consider moving here or investing here or just spending some time here. That makes all the difference. And I grew up in Muskegon, very similar to the Downriver community in many ways, actually. Industrial community changed because of the change of the economy. And I think a lot of Muskegonites kind of gave up on themselves. But then eventually there was this group of people who just said, we're not going to take it anymore. We're going to through a grassroots effort, come back. And because of that, Muskegon's coming back strong as well. So, take an assessment of what your community is like, and then take pride in that and share the word.
Great advice, Dave. So one thing that you've been doing over the past probably several years now is Pure Michigan and Travel Michigan has built a phenomenal partnership with Under the Radar Michigan, which we're going to interview Tom Dalton and Jim Edelman here in a moment from UTR. But can you talk a little bit about, and by the way, Tom and Jim are sitting across the table from us right now, so it's
making faces.
Right, making faces.
Right, so hard not
right.
to show him.
And if you're watching us on camera, you can see how embarrassed we are, but that's okay. But so without looking at them and maybe avoiding the weird looks. Can you talk about the impact that the partnership with UTR is having on Pure Michigan and our entire state?
Well, if you haven't heard of Under the Radar Michigan, you just maybe haven't been here very long. PBS TV show based in Detroit, but it's in all the PBS stations in Michigan and in some other states as well. And they'll tell you the story later on, but they've been around for about 10 years. And a couple of guys who became friends in previous work and just had this idea that they could put on a TV show to tell people about those lesser known things, places, activities, destinations. And then it just kind of grew from there. And Tom Dalton.
You were going to say spread like a bad cold.
Spread like a bad cold. Tom Dalton is kind of this quirky guy. I say that with all positive meaning. But so that his personality comes out in that show, and I will tell you, what you see on TV is exactly who he is, and he is this friendly, very approachable guy. And in fact, I've gone out with them on shoots for the show many times, and I've had in my weird career opportunities to be with countless celebrities, and usually people don't feel that they're approachable, or they just don't notice them. When you're with Tom and Jim, people notice them, and they do and that was a big indicator to me that not only would the show be successful for a long time, but that it was a type of show we want to be involved with, because people feel comfortable approaching these guys on the street to the point where I think they have sometimes they have a little problem getting their work done. So it's just one of those things.
That's our own problem.
Yes.
But seriously, go on.
Yes.
Please keep on how wonderful they are.
Say more positive things. So we're really happy to work with them, because they do tell these great stories. And interesting fact here, 18 years of pure Michigan, I thought I've driven every inch of the roadway in Michigan. I thought I knew everything there is to know, and then I still learned a lot from watching the show myself.
Yeah.
So you have to watch the show. You'll love it. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, shucks.
I'm gonna cry.
I still feel there's more you have to say.
And Jim Edelman, yes, he's okay.
So that wraps up today's podcast. Dave, I'm here with Dave Lorenz, who's the head of Travel Michigan, our state travel director, and Under the Radar. Also the genius behind the Pure Michigan campaign. And Dave, I want to say thank you so much for visiting us here at Destination Downriver today, and we're looking forward to seeing March. So today's sponsor again is Bell Granite and Marble. We want to thank them for supporting today's podcast, bellgraniteandmarble.com. Also, this podcast is presented by our good friends at the Trenton Trib and Island Beacon. I'm here with Dave Lorenz, and coming up next after the break, Tom Dalton and Jim Edelman, the creators, host, and producer of the hit PBS TV show.
Smash hit.
Yeah, no, okay, notice I said hit, but I will say smash hit.
Emmy
PBS
Award
TV
winning.
show. Emmy Award-winning TV show on PBS, public broadcasting, and that is Under the Radar Michigan. We'll be right back. Welcome to the Destination Downriver podcast, or I should say welcome back to the Destination Downriver podcast. This is your host, Ron Hendricks, and our podcast is, that's the first time I've ever had an applause. I think maybe once before.
It's polite golf.
Our podcast is presented by the Trenton Trib and Island Beacon, and our podcast sponsor today is Bell Granite and Marble, and you can visit them at bellgraniteandmarble.com. And joining me, my special guest, Tom Dalton and Jim Edelman.
Wait,
and
is he the special one, or am I?
well, that's that.
You
I was
said
going to say.
special guest.
So define the word special.
How about guests?
Okay, I'll just say yes. Yeah, we
We're
want to be
both
careful,
special.
right?
I have a participation ribbon.
I got a
So-
star on my forehead.
So I want to say welcome to Destination Downriver, Michigan's
Thank you.
must-see southeast coast.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very important that I mention that, because it truly is a must-see.
Oh, it is.
Right.
Well, actually, this part of the state is really the gateway
Mhm.
to Michigan for the majority of people who come to Michigan to visit or
Good point.
vacation. So
Good
they
point.
come through this area, and until we started doing the show, I didn't realize the rich tapestry of people, places, things that you have down here.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. Everything from international wildlife refuges to incredible festivals to beautiful downtowns. We're in downtown Trenton right now, which is a beautiful downtown. Wyandotte is amazing. All the cities down here. If you've never been to this part of the state, do yourself a favor and explore it. So
Or visit, yeah.
yeah, visit.
Yeah. Or locate here.
Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, live, work, play, start a business, start a family down here. There's an attitude and an energy down here where
Somebody's getting upset or emotional.
I'm sorry, I'm calling on the
Taking
table.
on the table?
Yeah, no, but there is an energy and an attitude, a sort of a like-mindedness in this area, in this region, where everybody's in it together. and it shows in the communities and the attitude and everything from the restaurants to the businesses. It's just a great place to be in Michigan.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Tom Dalden with Under the Radar Michigan. We have Jim Edelman with us as
Where's
well.
my plate clap?
Oh, that's right. So, Under the Radar Michigan is a smashing hit on Detroit Public Television, but PBS stations across the country. Jim Edelman, can you tell us a little bit about the history of Under the Radar Michigan, how it started?
Yeah.
And then also, I'm going to let both of you tell us a story about how you guys came together and started the show as well.
And see if they match up.
And see if they match up. Exactly.
My story starts with us being in the circus.
No, we're about to embark on our 12th season, which is mind-boggling. It's gone that fast, and you look back on the stories we've told, the places we've been, the people we've met. It is like 12 years of high school is what this is. Kind of feels
12 years of high school.
Yeah, the show's like the yearbook.
Yeah, it really is, because that's what we look back on them, and I'll do these like kind of compilation clips of our adventures, and I look at those clips and I'm like, that was a great time spent there, and we get that a lot from wherever we go. I don't think we've ever walked out and went, whoa, that guy was not a good person at all. I think there's just genuine discovery on part of the show, but then everyone we talk to is fantastic. Anytime we've done a story in the Destination Downriver area, there's been an over amount of excitement because it's like, what are you doing here? We're so special to be part of this because I think for the longest time this area has been ignored by the traditional media in Detroit. And I think this is, kind of our effort amongst all of us to make sure that we spread the good word.
Yeah, and like Dave Lorenz, who was just in here, said, word of mouth is one of the most powerful promotion tools. And I think, in a way, our show is kind of like the word of mouth for Michigan because we're just two regular guys. We're not preaching, we're not cheerleading, we're not trying to sell anybody anything. We're just out there discovering and just telling people about it. So, and I should also say Dave Lorenz, God bless Dave Lorenz. He's going to hate me for saying this, but he's one of the most humble, modest guys. But he does more for the state of Michigan than, that guy travels and works so hard. I call him the hardest working man in the Michigan business because and he's been a great partner of ours, and he's become a great friend. But our partnership with Pure Michigan is doing so much for this state that it makes me proud.
I'm glad you said that, Tom, because I agree with you 100%. Dave Lorenz truly is Mr. Michigan. And I think about where would we be without Dave Lorenz in the Pure Michigan campaign? And
we'd have other jobs.
Right, exactly. Yep. So I want to say this.
Here's your cart.
Yeah, both of you guys, you've been around the state. You've been all around the state, but there's one place that you keep coming back to, and that is Destination. By the way, that's the beginning of your show.
What?
I'll do it. I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. That's right. It's Destination Downriver.
Destination Downriver. That's right.
It's our own South Coast, East Coast. Wait, did I say it right?
No.
Michigan's must-see
Southeast
Southeast
Coast.
Yeah.
That's it.
So Destination Downriver made up of 18 very unique, smaller communities. You mentioned you were in downtown Trenton. I know you guys go to downtown Wyandotte all the time. Jeremy and Joe's Joe's Hamburgers.
We managed to get him on the show about every 3 months.
Every 3 months. And I know you guys do book signings there. And you pretty much, if you go to Joe's Hamburgers, the chances of running into you guys is pretty high. I imagine. Yeah.
They are good hamburgers.
Tell us about, because I want people to know about Joe's Hamburgers because it truly is one of the unique, special destinations of our Downriver community. How did that relationship start, and what keeps bringing you back to see Jeremy over there?
Well, we featured him on the show in season one, when he just had a girlfriend and he had this little hamburger joint. He was, just finished playing hockey. He's a young guy.
He was in a different location at that time.
Different
too.
location, exactly.
On Walnut, I think.
Yeah.
And we had him on the show, and he's your typical Destination Downriver success story. He's hard work, sincere, loves his community, loves his family, and he worked hard, and now he went from just being this guy with a girlfriend, and now he's married, has 2 kids that are in school. That's how long we've known him.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And a couple of more pinball machines in an arcade now,
and
similar ballroom.
And he even mentored a young woman that used to work for him, who now has it's crepes
Little
and
pierogi,
Yes,
and-
the pierogi shop.
in his old location. So he's just a great community builder. He's a great spokesperson for the region. So he's just a wonderful guy.
Yeah, the informal mayor of Wyandotte.
the official.
He gets all the fun stuff without having to do any of the hard work.
Right.
And it doesn't hurt that his sliders are really, really good.
They are.
So,
But I think what impacted us in that, because that was, we're still figuring out how to do the show at that point. 'Cause,
Exactly.
We hadn't broken off from that original production company to do it ourselves. And when he kind of got so excited about Wyandotte, about his rant that he did was great. We got our own power company, got our own cable company. My girlfriend lives here. That was that kind of like we
That makes
still
all the
quote him.
difference.
We still quote him, but that kind of energy, and kind of the I don't want to say the struggle of us, but the interesting aspect of doing the show is how do you get back to a place immediately? And it's hard when you've got a state as big as this and you do 13 shows a year. So I think this is where, looking forward to this partnership, we're going to have a lot more under the radar magnifying glass on the area in both covering both of our social media worlds, our offline video, as well as television show video.
So Jim, that's a great segue. Because going back a couple of years, like I did with Jim, with Dave Lorenz, you guys are perfect at this.
Dr. Segue.
So a couple of years ago, I of course noticed that you guys kept going to Joe's Hamburgers and going, and Jeremy's a friend, and he's a member of the Southern Wayne County Regional Chamber, our local chamber of commerce here in the Downriver area. And so I found out that from Jeremy that you guys were going to be in town. So I happened to find out 10 minutes before you were arriving at Joe's Hamburgers. So I dropped everything and I got in my car, and my office is in Taylor. So I went over to Joe's Hamburgers and got there right before you guys walked in. So Jeremy turned on Eye of the Tiger in his restaurant, and I could see you guys walking in, and he turns it up and it's blasting Eye of the Tiger, and that's how we met. That's when I came up to you and introduced myself, and a couple of years later, here we are. We have Destination Downriver, and we're launching a new partnership, a multi-year partnership with you guys in Under the Radar, Michigan. That's going to be a huge impact for our communities. Can you tell us a little bit about that partnership and what you anticipate will happen from it?
Well, it's perfect for us because there are so many stories here. And going back to what Dave Lorenz said earlier, it's all about positive energy. And Jeremy, for example, personifies that. I mean, there's so many people down here that have that like-minded positive energy and love for their community and the people here, that they're just dying to tell their stories. And that's what we do, is we tell stories. It's not so much it's about the backstories, about how things happen and how people end up doing what they do and why they love what they do, why they love where they live. And the whole Downriver community is perfect for that, because there are so many under the radar stories here that we're discovering as well. We've already discovered a lot. You guys have been on the show previously, but the partnership, we're excited about it just because there's friends down here. People have become friends. So.
And a lot of people don't really realize where Downriver is. They might have heard the name Downriver, but you guys are really playing a big role in getting us back on the map and allowing people to truly see that this really is a great destination. It's not that Rust Belt that people had a stereotype that this is what it was. It's truly a remarkable destination. You mentioned the International Wildlife Refuge, the unique waterfront towns that we have, like River Rouge and Wyandotte and Trenton, where we are right now, and then on the western side of all the economic development and jobs that are located in places like Romulus and Taylor. This really is a great place, not just to visit, but to locate, and you guys are playing a big role in helping to get us back on the map.
Well, even I didn't realize the wealth of people, places, and things down here until we started doing the show. I used to just drive through and go, "Oh, it's Downriver.
Great,
there it is."
It was a drive-through community.
Right, and I just on I-75, and I just thought it was maybe some malls and factories, and that was it. And then all of a sudden you get off the beaten path, and oh my gosh, the beautiful towns and the great people and everything from the restaurants to the art galleries to it's
shopping.
Yeah, there's so much more here than and I almost felt kind of guilty. Like, what have you been doing? Why have you just been driving through here? So, and like I said earlier, when people come to Michigan, because Dave even mentioned that you don't go to Michigan by accident unless you're lost in a boat or something, or lost at sea.
Yeah.
So the majority of the people come up through I-70, come through this area. And our job, and what we're excited about, is to tell them about, hey, just 15, 20 minutes north of the border, oh my gosh, look what is here.
Yeah.
You don't have to drive all the way up to,
Yeah.
Well, that's that nature, what you have here and what is available to explore in the outdoors. When we did the kayak tour, the industrial
that was awesome.
Rouge River kayak tour, that is one of those things that marries the outdoors and this this heavy industrial past and present of the Downriver area. So you embrace it and you celebrate it, but at the same time they've done a lot to clean up the Rouge. I really think that Friends of the Rouge organization has been just a phenomenal steward of that.
Is,
Ducks Unlimited did the same thing with the wildlife areas. And then I think we can't wave the banner enough for the International Wildlife Refuge. I mean that is what they've added there. That docking system that gets you out into the Detroit River. I mean, you come alone for that, and then find a lunch place. It doesn't have to be Joe's. We're not sponsored by Joe's, but
it could be Joe's.
Although they do have really good sliders.
But TV's Deli Diner has been on the show. I mean, we're just scraping the surface of all the places that are here.
And I have to say really quick that I've had quite a few of these moments on the show, but in my top 10 oh my gosh moments is when we were doing the Rouge River kayaking tour. That moment when you come out of the river and you kayak out onto the Detroit River. And you're kayaking amongst giant freighters. And you can see the bridge and the city skyline. That was one of these moments where I got chills doing that. And it's like you don't get
amazing.
That very often.
Yeah, and we just had you guys a couple of weeks ago. You were speaking at our forum, and we're sitting there, and it was at Silver Shores, right on the Detroit River here in Downriver. And going by us is a Canadian Coast Guard cutter ship, and it's just like where else can you see things besides Coast Guard City where Dave Lorenz is from?
I was more impressed with the little tiki bar boat that went by.
That was pretty cool too.
This little grass tiki bar boat went by, and then they went by again. And I'm thinking maybe they'll stop here and I can get that margarita.
But I gotta tell you, there are a lot of boat nerds out there. And I mean, it's you guys probably know Freighter Frank.
He's been on the show.
Oh yeah, he's been on the show.
He's been on the show.
But I mean, there's a huge following of ship watchers, boat nerds that love watching freighters. And you can go to Port Huron and do that, but Downriver is like the perfect place to go sit at Bishop Park and Wyandotte, or go up the River Rouge, and you can see all those big, massive freighters coming in, and really, this is a place you gotta come to.
My wife and I do that all the time. We get a pizza and go down to the Detroit River, and we just sit there with our pizza and watch freighters go by. It's just something about it that never gets old.
It's truly a magical moment.
It is. You get so excited. The massive size of these ships is just so amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think, kind of echoing on what Dave said and what we've all said is that, we are all ambassadors of where we live. And, when people come in from out of town, friends come in from out of town, we want to show them what's around. They, first off, they hear that, if you're in the destination Downriver area, you're 10 minutes from Detroit, I guess I'm going to come and get shot in your town. But we want to go out of our ways to show them what's here. And I really think that, there is no shortage of effort on your part to making sure that these places are seen. We're going to put it on a little bit bigger stage, but in an effort to make sure that everyone is excited about it. I think that the listeners, you guys know what's out there. You know the cool corners of the place. I'm looking at the microphone when I say this is so weird.
Well, Jim, there's so many passionate storytellers out there in the Downriver community, and we needed an organization like Destination Downriver to bring those people together and form partnerships like what we have with UTR now. So you bring up a great point, and the other part of that too, and I know, Tom, you want to say something.
No, it's okay. I always want to say something.
But the other thing is that it's not just a destination, a travel and tourism destination, but this truly is a place where you can open a business like Jeremy did in Wyandotte, or we have large businesses that are coming in and building large facilities that are employing hundreds, if not thousands of people.
Right.
And this is a great place for great talent to locate in Michigan and to become an entrepreneur and build a community, be a part of the community, and you have a big impact. And so go ahead, Tom. I know you want to say something.
I've forgotten. That's okay, Ron. I
I'll say something
I
else.
forgot what I was going to say. I should also mention too that we're in 3 million households in Canada, so we have
Okay.
a ton of Canadians who are big fans of the show and come over here to shop, to eat, to play, to vacation. So
Just waiting for that border to reopen.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. As soon as it reopens,
Yeah, well, I know one of our staff members just crossed the border not too long ago, so there's, to visit family. So there's
Yeah.
hope
Oh,
that
right.
we're going to start seeing some visitors at some point soon.
We'll get back
Yeah.
to normal.
Yeah, it will. So I want to say thank you both. I think we had a great conversation today,
thank
but
you,
an even better friendship and an even better partnership over the next 3 years, promoting Destination Downriver. So
I should
Go ahead.
mention Ron really is a very nice guy.
I want to add, Ron's perseverance in making this happen.
Yes.
This is,
Yes.
you grab hold of this and you were like, I'm not going to let this go until we figure out how to work together.
That's a
And I
you know,
appreciate that.
and I want to give recognition to Rich Williams and Sue
Yes.
Trussell and Liz Henley who really made this happen. But going back, and we've been for past probably 3 years now. We've been meeting with potential sponsors,
Yeah.
and remember all those
Yeah.
meetings we had.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, that's what I love about you.
we kept-
positive
we kept-
energy.
yeah.
Positive
Yeah.
energy.
And we were not going to give up, and here we are. We have a signed contract. Things are happening, and fist bump, absolutely. Yep. So I'm with Tom Dalton and Jim Edelman from the smashing hit PBS television series. Emmy Award winning. 11 Emmy Awards now, right?
Yeah.
Or
10.
10
We
Emmy
stopped
Awards.
entering.
We stopped entering because we wanted to leave some.
Because he kept winning every year.
Yeah, it was embarrassing, and it just is. And plus, a loss that had to be coming, so that's why we stopped it.
Right. Yeah. At some point.
Yeah,
At some point,
right,
you're not
right,
going to
right.
win. Right. So thank you both for being here with me
thank
today.
you.
I appreciate you guys, and I'm looking forward to the next several years in our partnership.
Definitely.
And you've been listening to the Destination Downriver podcast presented by the Trenton Trib and Island Beacon. I'm Ron Henricks. And again, thank you to today's sponsor, Bell Granite and Marble. You can visit them at bellgraniteandmarble.com. And you can see, if you're watching us on the video, you can see our beautiful Destination Downriver mug that Tom was showcasing.
Tom's mug.
And Tom's mug as well. So Tom and Jim, thanks again for being with us. I'm Ron Henricks, and we will see you next time on the Destination Downriver podcast.